Sometimes, the soul that saves your life doesn't arrive as a hero, it arrives with 4 legs, frightened eyes, and wounds that mirror your own. What if the abandoned dog everyone ignored became the reason a broken man chose to live again? The rain fell heavily over a small coastal town in the Philippines as Ethan sat alone on a wooden bench overlooking the sea. At 35 years old, he felt as though life had already defeated him. Just 2 years earlier, Ethan had owned a small fishing business inherited from his father. He had dreams, plans, a future he believed was secure. But one devastating typhoon changed everything. The storm destroyed his boats, ruined his equipment, and buried him in debt. As if that were not enough, his mother became seriously ill shortly afterward. The medical bills drained what little savings he had left. Despite working day and night, Ethan could not escape the growing weight of his problems. Eventually, he lost his business. Then he lost his home. And a few months later, he lost his mother. The grief shattered him. The man who once laughed easily became silent. The man who once encouraged others could barely encourage himself. Most days, he wandered the shoreline without purpose. He smiled less, spoke less, and hoped less. One stormy evening, while walking along the beach, Ethan noticed a small injured dog trapped beneath broken driftwood. Its fur was soaked, its body trembled, and fear filled its eyes. Ethan hesitated. He barely had enough money to survive himself. But when their eyes met, he saw the same pain he carried inside. Slowly, he freed the dog, wrapped it in his jacket, and carried it home. He cleaned its wounds, shared his food, and cared for it through the night. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The dog, whom Ethan named Hope, slowly recovered. Its leg healed. Its strength returned. And little by little, Ethan noticed something unexpected. As Hope healed, so did he. For the first time in years, he had a reason to wake up early. A reason to leave the house. A reason to keep moving forward. Every day, Hope greeted Ethan with the same loyalty and affection. The dog never cared about his failures or losses. It simply stayed by his side, reminding him that unconditional love still existed. One afternoon, while watching Hope run along the beach, Ethan realized something important. The dog had every reason to remain fearful. It had been abandoned, injured, left to die. Yet it still found the courage to trust again. If Hope could do that, why couldn't he? That realization became a turning point. The next day, Ethan began repairing fishing nets for local fishermen. The pay was small, and many doubted he would ever recover. But he kept going. Whenever he felt tired or discouraged, he remembered Hope and the courage the little dog had. Months later, his reputation for quality work spread throughout neighboring villages. More customers came. More opportunities appeared. Eventually, Ethan saved enough money to buy a small fishing boat. It wasn't much, but it was his. The day he launched his small boat, tears filled his eyes. He had proven that failure was not the end of his story. Years passed. Ethan's small fishing business slowly recovered and became successful once again. Whenever people asked how he found the strength to rebuild his life, he always smiled and looked at Hope. To him, the dog was a reminder that even the deepest wounds can heal when we refuse to give up. One quiet morning, as the sun rose over the ocean, Ethan found Hope resting peacefully near the shore. The old dog was weak now. Age had finally caught up with him. Ethan sat beside him and gently placed a hand on his head. "Thank you," he whispered. "You saved me when I didn't know how to save myself." Hope looked at him one last time, then quietly closed his eyes. Ethan sat in silence as tears rolled down his face. This time, they were tears of gratitude. Because Hope had left him something greater than companionship. He had left him strength. The strength to stand after falling. The courage to keep walking after loss. And the faith to believe that even the darkest storms eventually pass. From that day forward, Ethan shared Hope's story with everyone who felt defeated. Because if an abandoned dog could overcome fear and learn to trust again, then perhaps every broken heart still has a chance to heal. And perhaps every ending is simply the beginning of a new chapter. Life will sometimes knock us down harder than we ever imagined. We may lose people we love, dreams we worked for, and the future we planned. But failure is not the end unless we decide to stop trying. Like Ethan and Hope, healing begins when we choose to take one step forward, no matter how small. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite it. Have you ever gone through a season in life when you felt completely broken, and what gave you the strength to stand up and keep moving forward?